Hello. Today we are looking at shifting functions on the graph. You can think of this actually, if you think of it as a slide, or these are translations if you want to go all the way back to the days of geometry. And that's really what we're doing. We're just kind of shifting these guys along on the coordinate plane. To do so vertically is pretty easy. I've got the equation here, the function f of x equals x squared. And I've graphed that out here a little bit crudely, but it works. If I want to move it, I want to move this up by 1. To do so, all I need to do is take my function and it's going to be the original function that I've got here. Actually, let me do this in a different color here to make this stand out a little bit better. Let me go to blue. F of x is going to equal the original thing that I had up here, which is x squared, and then I add a 1. Let's test this out. I can start plugging in some values here. If I have f of 0, that's equal to 0 squared plus 1. Now that's equal to 1. So I've got the coordinate here 0, 1. That goes right there. F of 1 is going to equal 1 squared plus 1, which equals 2. New coordinate 1, 2. 1, 2. F of 2 is going to be 2 squared plus 1, 4 plus 1 gives me 5. My new coordinate would be 2, 5. 1, 2. Right there. They are not that close of parabolas when you're accurately graphing this. This is my crude hand drawing here. It is still going to have symmetry along the y-axis. We can plug in the exact same thing. When we square, we're going to really lose the negative value there. Everything will still be in quadrant 1 or quadrant 2. And that's it. All I have to do is just tack on the shift that I want to do. For the vertical, your vertical shift is going to be after the parentheses, basically. You can think of it really as there's my original function, and then I just tack a 1 onto it. If I want to slide that negative, I could do f of x equals x squared minus 1. I could do f of 0 is going to equal 0 squared minus 1, gives me the new point 0, negative 1. F of 1 similarly would give me 1 squared minus 1. That gives me 1, 0. And I can continue on. I'm going to get something, again, very similar, shifted a little bit by 1, down. So whatever you add at the end of your function, so if I've got f of x equals x squared, whatever I add here, plus or minus, that's your vertical shift or your vertical slide. In this case, positive. If you have a positive value there, you slide up. If you have a negative value there, you slide down by however many units that you are adding. So that, I think, is the pretty cut and dry one right there. Let's take a look at going to the horizontal. So to shift to the right, I'm going to do f of x is equal to, I'm going to use this space here where I did have x. Inside here, I'm going to do a change to x minus 1 squared. This looks weird. This will, though, shift it to the right, and I know that's kind of counterintuitive. You're thinking, if this is negative, why wouldn't it be to the left? Let me show you through some testing of some points. So if I do f of 0, that's going to equal 0 minus 1 squared. F of 0 then equals negative 1 squared, which equals 1. So my coordinate that I get from that is 0, comma 1. 0, 1. I've got that. All right, so far it almost looks like we're doing a vertical shift, but check this out. If I do f of 1, that's equal to 1 minus 1 squared, which is 0 squared, which is just 0. The new coordinate that results from here, 1 comma 0. That's right there. Whoa, now we're getting weird. Alright, f of 2 is equal to 2 minus 1 squared. That's just 1 squared, which gives me 1. New coordinate, 2 comma 1. And we can continue this process. If I did f of negative 1, that gives me negative 1 minus 1 squared. That's negative 2 squared, which is 4. So I will actually get a shift to the right by adding a negative within the parentheses there of what I would normally place just x by itself. So we did a slide to the right. We can also do a slide to the left and a slide to the right. Everybody, clap your hands. I'm going to do x plus 1 within the parentheses, and we'll see how this is a shift. However much you want to shift by, that's what this number here on the right within the parentheses is, just like with our vertical shift. All right? If we're just doing shifts, we're not stretching anything right now. That's later. F of x equals x, the quantity x plus 1 squared. We can test this out. If I've got f of 0, that's equal to 0 plus 1 squared. That's 1. 0, 1 is my coordinate. Same spot there as the last one we had there, but that's for a different spot. Let's try f of negative 1. This is negative 1 plus 1 squared. That's 0. The new point is negative 1, 0. F of negative 2 equals negative 2 plus 1 squared. That's 1, new point, -2, 1. And I will see that I start to get a parabola here that goes to the left. So if you want to do a slide to the right, have a negative within your parentheses. You substitute this for x in the function. So this would be x minus, basically. If you want to slide to the left, however many units you want that to be, you have a positive within x plus. And again, we're substituting for wherever x is in f. We're putting this quantity in parentheses in there. This minus here also assumes that your value here is really going to be negative. If it's positive, you have a double negative here, that becomes a positive, and then that's just a shift to the left because you're getting a positive value here. So ultimately, the value of what you're adding is going to make the difference. All right. Bring in any questions that you've got. Think about this. Questions are good. Questions help us identify what the tricky parts are. And have a great day.